There are people listening to this today who are still grieving something they lost years ago, a person they wanted to keep, a future they thought was certain, a door they begged Allah to leave open. They moved on with their lives, but deep inside, a question never left their hearts. Why did Allah take it away from me? What if the answer is far different than you think? What if the thing you lost was never meant to be part of the life Allah wrote for you? What if Allah saved you from a future you could not see, a pain you could not imagine, or a path that would have taken you away from Him? The believer must understand a powerful reality. Allah never removes your destiny. He only removes what is standing between you and it. Today, we will uncover why some of the losses that hurt you most may have been among the greatest acts of mercy Allah ever gave you. Why Allah never allows the wrong thing to become your final destination. My brothers and sisters, sometimes we become so attached to something that we start believing life cannot continue without it. We look at a person, a plan, an opportunity, or a dream, and we say, this is the one, this is what I need, this is where my happiness is. But we forget that our knowledge is limited, while the knowledge of Allah is complete. You may see the beginning of something and think it is beautiful, but Allah sees where it will take you. You may see comfort in it today, but Allah sees the pain it may bring tomorrow. You may see love, success, or security, but Allah sees whether that thing will bring you closer to Him or slowly pull your heart away from Him. This is why, sometimes, Allah removes something before it becomes too deep in your life. At first it felt painful, it feels unfair. You may ask, why did this happen when I wanted it so badly? But the believer must remember that Allah does not remove your real destiny. He removes what was never meant to become your final destination. There are things we cry over because we do not know their hidden danger. There are doors we beg Allah to open, not knowing that behind them is anxiety, humiliation, betrayal, weakness in faith, or a life that would slowly destroy our peace. And because Allah loves His servants, He may close that door before they enter too far. Not everything you lose is a loss. Sometimes it is protection, sometimes it is redirection. Sometimes it is Allah saving your heart from attaching to something that was never written to complete your journey. So when something leaves your life, do not immediately think Allah has abandoned you. Ask yourself, what if Allah is guiding me? What if Allah is protecting me? What if Allah is moving me away from something that looked good, but was not good for my soul? The wrong thing may look attractive for a season, but Allah will never allow it to become the final destination of someone He is guiding. If it was removed, trust that Allah knew what you did not know. And if Allah took it away, then believe with certainty that what He has written for you is better, safer, and more suitable for your akhirah and your heart. The heartbreak that was actually saving your future. Heartbreak is one of the most difficult tests of the heart because it does not only hurt your emotions, it shakes the picture you had of your future. You were not only attached to a person, a plan, or a dream, you were attached to the life you imagined with it. You thought, this is where I am going, this is how my story will be. Then suddenly, Allah allowed it to leave, and you felt as though the ground beneath you had disappeared. But listen carefully. Sometimes what breaks your heart is actually what saves your life. At the time of heartbreak, we usually see only the pain. We see the empty space, the unanswered messages, the closed door, the plan that collapsed, and the memories that keep returning. We do not see what Allah protected us from. We do not see the tears that would have come later. We do not see the damage that would have entered our faith, our peace, our confidence, or our future. We only see what we lost, while Allah sees what would have happened if it had stayed. There are people who cry when someone leaves them, but years later they realize that if that person had remained, their life would have gone in a direction that was not good for them. Their salah may have become weaker. Their heart may have become more attached to the creation than to the Creator. Their dignity may have been broken slowly. Their peace may have been stolen little by little. Their future may have been filled with pain that they were not strong enough to see at the beginning. This is why the believer must never judge Allah's mercy by the first moment of pain. A wound can feel like punishment when it first opens, but later you may discover it was the place where healing began. A heartbreak can feel like rejection, but later you may understand it was protection. A goodbye can feel like abandonment, but later you may realize it was Allah pulling you away from something that could not walk with you toward your true destiny. The heart wants what it wants, but Allah knows what the heart needs. The heart may chase comfort, affection, approval, and security, but Allah knows whether those things will bring light into your life or darkness into your soul. So when Allah separates you from something you loved, it does not always mean you did something wrong. It may mean Allah saw something ahead that you could not see, and He saved you before you reached it. Sometimes Allah allows your heart to break so your future does not break completely. Sometimes He allows one painful ending so He can prevent years of silent suffering. Sometimes He removes one attachment so your entire life does not become trapped around the wrong person, the wrong dream, or the wrong direction. So do not hate every heartbreak. Do not curse every closed door. Do not keep asking why Allah took it away as though He wronged you. Allah never wrongs His servants. He is Al-Hakim, the most wise. He is Ar-Rahim, the most merciful. He knows the weight of your tears, and He knows the wisdom behind what He allowed. One day, you may look back and say, Ya Allah, I cried when you removed it, but now I understand. You were not taking my happiness away. You were saving my future. The heartbreak that you thought destroyed you may have been the very thing that protected you. It may have redirected your steps, purified your heart, humbled your soul, and brought you closer to Allah in a way comfort never could. So trust Him even when your heart is aching. Trust Him when the story does not make sense. Trust Him when the door closes suddenly. Because sometimes the pain you are crying over today is the mercy you will thank Allah for tomorrow. When Allah removes something before it removes you from Him, the greatest mercy of Allah is that He sometimes removes something from your life before that thing removes you from Him. At first, you may not understand it. You may feel hurt, confused, and even ashamed of how much you wanted it. You may say, Ya Allah, why did you take it away when I was so attached to it? But sometimes the attachment itself is becoming dangerous for your soul. There are things that enter our lives looking harmless. A person, a relationship, a habit, a dream, a lifestyle, a friendship, an opportunity. In the beginning, it felt good. It makes us happy. It gives us excitement. It gives us comfort. But slowly, without realizing it, our heart begins to change. Salah becomes delayed. The Quran becomes rare. Dua becomes only about that thing. The heart that once remembered Allah with softness begins to revolve around something created. This is when Allah's mercy may come in a form we do not like. He may remove the thing before it takes more of your heart. He may close the door before you walk too far away. He may allow disappointment before that desire becomes your master. And although it hurts, it is still mercy, because losing something from the dunya is far lighter than losing your connection with Allah. Not everything that makes you happy is good for you. Not everything that gives you comfort is safe for you. Sometimes the thing you love may be the very thing that slowly weakens your faith. It may make you compromise your values. It may make you ignore what is halal and haram. It may make you accept disrespect, distance from family, neglect of worship, or a life where Allah is no longer at the center. And because Allah knows what is hidden in the future, He may remove it before the damage becomes deeper. You were crying over the loss, but Allah was protecting your iman. You were asking for that door to stay open, but Allah knew that behind it was a version of you that would become spiritually tired, emotionally dependent, and far from Him. You saw the sweetness at the beginning, while Allah saw the bitterness waiting at the end. Sometimes a person leaves your life, and it feels like your world is ending. But ask yourself honestly, did that person bring you closer to Allah, or did they make you forget Him? Did that opportunity strengthen your faith, or did it make you chase the dunya without limits? Did that dream make you humble, or did it fill your heart with pride, anxiety, and obsession? The believer must learn to measure loss differently. Do not only ask, did I lose something I loved? Ask, did Allah save me from losing myself? Did Allah save me from losing my peace? Did Allah save me from losing my akhirah? Because if Allah removes something to protect your relationship with Him, then that removal is not punishment, it is a rescue. Many people only realize this later. They look back and say, if Allah had allowed me to keep that person, I would have become someone I no longer recognize. If Allah had allowed that plan to continue, I may have forgotten my purpose. If Allah had given me exactly what I wanted, I may have walked away from the very one who gave me everything. So when Allah takes something away, do not only look at what left your hand, look at what remains in your heart. Your salah remained, your dua returned, your tears became sincere, your dependence on Allah became stronger. Your heart, which was scattered everywhere, started coming back to its Lord. This is a great blessing. Because the worst loss is not losing a person, a job, a plan, or a dream. The worst loss is losing Allah from your heart while thinking you have gained the world. So if Allah removed something before it removed you from Him, then thank Him, even through your tears. He did not take your destiny away. He protected the part of you that your destiny needs most, your faith, your heart, and your closeness to Him. The painful truth about holding on to what Allah has taken away. The most painful struggle of the heart is not always losing something. Sometimes the deeper pain comes from refusing to let go after Allah has already removed it. The door has closed, the person has left, the plan has ended, the opportunity has disappeared, but the heart keeps standing in the same place, waiting for what Allah has already moved away from it. This is where many people suffer for longer than they need to suffer, not because Allah is still taking something from them, but because they are still holding on to what Allah has already taken away. They keep replaying the past, they keep asking the same questions, they keep imagining how things could have been different, they keep holding conversations in their mind with people who are no longer part of their life, and slowly, the loss does not only remain a memory, it becomes a prison. When Allah removes something, there is wisdom in that removal. You may not see it immediately, you may not understand it while your eyes are filled with tears, you may not feel strong enough to accept it in the beginning, but the believer must know that Allah does not take anything without knowledge, without mercy, and without purpose. Nothing leaves your life outside the permission of Allah. Nothing is removed from your path without His wisdom. The painful truth is that sometimes we are not grieving what we actually lost. We are grieving the future we imagined. We are grieving the version of life we created in our minds. We are grieving the hope we attached to that person, that dream, that plan, or that door. And because we built so much emotion around it, we begin to think, if this thing is gone, my future is gone. But no, my brothers and sisters, your future was never in the hands of what left you. Your future is in the hands of Allah. This is why holding on too tightly can become dangerous. When you keep chasing what Allah has removed, you may delay your own healing. You may block your own growth. You may keep your heart attached to something that Allah is trying to free you from. You may become so busy looking back that you fail to notice the doors Allah is opening in front of you. And sometimes we must be honest with ourselves. We say, I trust Allah, but our hearts are still arguing with His decree. We say, Allah knows best, but we keep trying to force the same thing back into our lives. We say, I believe in Qadr, but we keep living as though our peace depends on something Allah did not allow to remain. Trusting Allah is not only saying beautiful words when life is easy. Trusting Allah means surrendering even when the answer hurts. It means accepting that if Allah closed the door, He knew why it had to close. There are things that will harm you more if they return. There are people who may break you deeper if they come back. There are opportunities that may look beautiful from a distance but may destroy your peace if you enter them. There are dreams that may feed your ego but weaken your soul. And because Allah loves you more than you love yourself, He may remove them and prevent them from becoming part of your final path. But when you keep holding on, you keep reopening the wound, you keep touching the place Allah is trying to heal, you keep going back to the memory, the message, the picture, the conversation, the regret, and every time you return to it, the heart bleeds again. Then you ask, why am I not healing? Sometimes you are not healing because you are still feeding the pain. You are still giving life to something Allah has already allowed to end. Letting go does not mean the thing never mattered. It does not mean your love was fake. It does not mean your pain was small. It means you have reached a point where you say, Ya Allah, I do not understand everything, but I trust you more than I trust my own attachment. It means you stop fighting the decree and start asking Allah for strength to move with it. It means you stop making the past your home and allow Allah to guide you toward what He has written next. The believer must remember that acceptance is not weakness, acceptance is worship. When you accept what Allah has written, you are not losing the battle. You are returning the matter to the one who controlled it from the beginning. You are saying, Ya Allah, if you kept it away from me, then there is mercy in that. If you remove it, then there is wisdom in that. If you end it, then there is something you know that I do not know. And my dear brothers and sisters, this is where peace begins. Not when the past changes, not when the person returns, not when the old door opens again. Peace begins when your heart stops demanding what Allah has not written and starts trusting what Allah is preparing. Peace begins when you realize that what left you did not take Allah's plan with it. It only left because it had no place in the destiny Allah is building for you. Sometimes Allah takes something away because it has already served its purpose. It taught you patience. It exposed your attachment. It humbled your heart. It showed you what you need to heal. It brought you back to dua. It reminded you that people are not permanent, plans are not guaranteed, and only Allah remains. Once that lesson is complete, Allah may remove the thing because keeping it longer would no longer benefit you. So do not keep begging for what Allah, in His wisdom, has taken away. Ask Allah to replace your pain with peace. Ask Him to clean your heart from unhealthy attachment. Ask Him to make you pleased with His decree. Ask Him to show you the good hidden behind the loss when the time is right. The painful truth is this: holding on to what Allah has removed can keep you stuck in a chapter He has already finished. And you cannot fully receive what Allah is bringing while both hands are still holding what He has taken away. Release it to Allah. Cry if you need to cry, but do not build your life around what is left. Feel the pain, but do not make the pain your identity. Remember the lesson, but do not live inside the memory, because Allah did not remove it to destroy you. He removed it to redirect you, purify you, protect you, and prepare you for something that belongs to the life He has written for you. Why Allah's no can be greater than the answer you wanted. Sometimes the most difficult answer to accept from Allah is not silence, it is no. You made dua, you cried in sujood, you asked Allah again and again. You believed that if this door opened, your heart would finally be at peace. You believed that if this person stayed, your life would be complete. You believed that if this opportunity came, everything would become easier. But then Allah did not give you what you wanted, and the heart began to ache. At that moment, Shaitan may whisper, Allah did not answer you. But the believer must understand something very important. Allah's no is also an answer. Allah's delay is also an answer. Allah's redirection is also an answer. Allah does not ignore the sincere dua of His servant. He responds with knowledge, wisdom, mercy, and perfect timing. The problem is that we often expect the answer to look exactly like our request, while Allah may answer by giving something better, delaying something harmful, or removing something that was never good for us. A child may cry because the parent refuses to give them something dangerous. The child only sees desire. The parent sees danger. The child only sees the sweetness of what they want. The parent sees the harm that may come after it. In a far greater and more perfect way, Allah sees what we do not see. We may beg for something because it looks beautiful from the outside, but Allah knows what it would do to our heart, our faith, our peace, our family, our future, and our akhirah. This is why Allah's no can be greater than the answer you wanted, because what you wanted may have pleased your emotions for a short time, but destroyed your peace for a long time. What you wanted may have made you smile today, but made you cry for years. What you wanted may have looked like success, but carried a hidden test you were not ready to face. What you wanted may have brought you closer to the dunya, but further away from Allah. And sometimes, my brothers and sisters, Allah says no, not because He is denying you goodness, but because He is protecting you from something disguised as goodness. There are people who look like blessings at the beginning, but become trials later. There are doors that look like opportunities but lead to humiliation. There are dreams that look like elevation but fill the heart with arrogance, anxiety, and distance from Allah. There are relationships that feel like comfort but slowly weaken your standards, your worship, and your self-respect. So when Allah does not give you what you asked for, do not immediately assume you have been rejected. Ask yourself, what if Allah is saving me from something I cannot see? What if His no is carrying a mercy I will only understand later? What if I am crying over a door that would have destroyed the best parts of me? We must learn the difference between what we desire and what is good for us. The heart can desire many things. The eyes can be attracted to many things. The mind can imagine many futures. But not every desire is destiny. Not every beautiful door is safe. Not every person you love is written to walk with you. Not every plan you make is the plan that will bring you closer to Allah. The Quran teaches us that we may dislike something while it is good for us, and we may love something while it is bad for us. This is not just a verse to recite when life is easy. This is a truth to hold on to when your heart is disappointed, when your plan collapses, when the answer you wanted does not come, and when you cannot understand why Allah is taking your life in a different direction. When Allah says no, He may be saving your iman, He may be saving your dignity, He may be saving your future marriage, He may be saving your children who are not even born yet. He may be saving your peace from a life that would have looked perfect to people but felt empty inside your heart. He may be protecting you from a version of yourself that would have appeared successful but lost sincerity, humility, and closeness to Him. Sometimes we only thank Allah for what He gives, but the mature believer learns to thank Allah also for what He withholds. Because what Allah withholds may be the very thing that would have broken you. What Allah blocks may be the very thing that would have trapped you. What Allah removes may be the very thing that would have taken your heart away from Him. Think about how many things you once begged for, but today you are grateful they did not happen. Think about the people you once cried over, but now you understand why Allah did not allow them to stay. Think about the doors you once wanted badly, but now you realize they were not meant for your peace. At the time you thought Allah was denying you, later you realized Allah was rescuing you. This is the beauty of trusting Allah. You do not need to understand every no immediately. You do not need to see the full wisdom right away. Sometimes Allah allows you to feel the disappointment first, then He teaches you wisdom later. Sometimes He closes the door first, then opens your eyes months or years later to what was behind it. Sometimes He removes the thing first, then shows you the better path after your heart becomes ready. But while you are waiting to understand, keep your adab with Allah. Do not say, Allah did not care about me. Do not say, my dua was wasted. Do not say, nothing good will come now. These words come from pain, but they can weaken the heart. Say instead, Ya Allah, I wanted it, but you know better. Ya Allah, I asked for it, but you saw what I could not see. Ya Allah, if your answer is no, then make my heart pleased with your wisdom and guide me to what is better. Allah's no is not the end of your story. It may be the beginning of your protection. It may be the opening of a better path. It may be the moment Allah is turning you away from something small so He can lead you towards something greater. And greatness may not always be more money, more status, or more attention. Sometimes the greater gift is peace. Sometimes it is a cleaner heart. Sometimes it is stronger faith. Sometimes it is being saved from a future that would have looked beautiful but felt unbearable. So do not measure Allah's love only by the doors He opens. Sometimes His love is shown in the doors He keeps closed. Do not measure His mercy only by what He gives. Sometimes His mercy is hidden in what He refuses to give. Do not think the answer you wanted was always the best answer. The best answer is the one Allah chooses for you, because He knows your beginning, your ending, your weakness, your strength, your hidden tears, and the destiny written for you. You may look back at the very no that broke your heart and say, Alhamdulillah, Allah did not give me what I begged for, because He gave me what I truly needed. That is when you will understand that Allah's refusal was not rejection, it was mercy, it was wisdom, it was protection, and it was far greater than the answer you thought you wanted. The future Allah protected you from without your knowledge. There are many things Allah has saved you from that you may never fully know in this life. You know the pain of what you lost, but you do not know the pain Allah prevented. You know the door that closed, but you do not know what was waiting behind it. You know the person who left, but you do not know what your life may have become if they had stayed. You know the opportunity that disappeared, but you do not know whether it would have carried blessing or destruction. This is why the believer must be very careful when judging Allah's decree by the first feeling of sadness. At the moment something is taken away, the heart only sees one side. It sees the empty space. It is disappointing. It sees the dream that did not happen. But Allah sees the whole road. Allah sees what was hidden from you, what was coming toward you, what would have affected your faith, your peace, your family, your future, and your akhirah. Sometimes Allah protects you from a future that looks beautiful from where you were standing. You may have looked at it and thought, this is exactly what I need. But Allah saw the full picture. He saw the sleepless nights that may have come with it. He saw the emotional damage. He saw the slow loss of confidence. He saw the distance from salah. He saw the people who would have changed you. He saw the environment that would have pulled you away from Him. So He removed it before it reached a point where leaving would have become even harder. We often think protection must feel gentle. We think if Allah is protecting us, it will feel peaceful from the beginning. But sometimes protection feels like heartbreak. Sometimes protection feels like rejection. Sometimes protection feels like failure. Sometimes protection feels like a delay that embarrasses you in front of people. But just because it hurts does not mean it is not mercy. A doctor may remove something harmful from the body, and the procedure may hurt, but the purpose is healing. In a far greater way, Allah may remove something from your life, and your heart may ache, but the purpose may be to save you from a deeper harm you could not see. There are people who were protected from marriages that would have broken their spirit. There are people who were protected from jobs that would have consumed their lives and destroyed their peace. There are people who were protected from friendships that would have led them into sin. There are people who were protected from success that would have filled their hearts with pride. There are people who were protected from places, plans, and relationships that looked promising but carried trials they were not ready to carry. They cried. At the time, they felt behind. At the time, they wondered why Allah did not give them what others seemed to receive so easily. But later, when Allah opened their eyes, they realized that the delay was protection, the rejection was protection, and the loss was protection. They realized that Allah had been saving them from a future they were too emotional to recognize. Do not think Allah only helps you through what He gives. Allah also helps you through what He prevents. Sometimes His mercy arrives as an open door, and sometimes His mercy arrives as a locked door. Sometimes His kindness comes through a blessing entering your life, and sometimes His kindness comes through something leaving before it damages you. The one who truly trusts Allah learns to say, Alhamdulillah, not only for what came, but also for what did not come. You may never know how many accidents Allah moved away from your path. You may never know how many people Allah exposed before they could harm you deeper. You may never know how many wrong decisions Allah blocked through delays, confusion, or sudden changes. You may never know how many tears Allah prevented by allowing one painful moment today. But your lack of knowledge does not mean Allah was absent. It means Allah was working in ways your eyes were not able to see. This is why tawakkul is so important. Tawakkul means you trust Allah not only when His plan matches your desire, but also when His plan removes what you wanted. It means you believe that Allah's wisdom is greater than your fear. It means you understand that your vision is limited, but Allah's knowledge has no limit. It means you stop saying, "Why did this happen to me?" in a way of complaint, and you begin saying, "Ya Allah, I know you saw what I could not see." Sometimes Allah protects your future by disappointing your present. He may allow one plan to collapse so your life does not collapse later. He may allow one person to walk away so your heart does not become chained to someone who was never written to care for it properly. He may allow one dream to break so your iman does not break with it. He may allow one painful ending because the longer that story continued, the more it would have cost you. And remember this carefully. What Allah protects you from is also part of His mercy upon you. We are quick to count visible blessings. We count income, family, health, opportunities, and answered prayers. But how often do we count the invisible blessings? The sins Allah kept us away from, the people He removed from our circle, the humiliation He prevented, the spiritual weakness He saved us from, the future He blocked because it was not safe for our soul. Many things will make sense. One day, you may look back and realize that what looked like a loss was actually Allah moving you away from harm. You may realize that the person you begged to stay with would have made your life heavy. You may realize that the opportunity you cried over would have taken your peace. You may realize that the door you wanted open was not leading to your destiny, but away from it. Until that day comes, trust Allah with what you do not know. Trust Him with the unseen parts of your story. Trust Him with the future you cannot control. Do not let one closed door convince you that Allah has forgotten you. Do not let one painful loss make you believe your destiny is ruined. Allah is too wise to remove something without reason, and too merciful to protect you without purpose. The future Allah protected you from may be a future you would never have survived with the same heart, the same faith, and the same peace. So when something is taken away, say, Ya Allah, if you removed it, then you knew why. If you blocked it, then you saw what I did not see. If you closed that door, then guide me to the door that is better for my dunya and my akhirah. The thing you lost was not your destiny. It may have been the very thing standing between you and the destiny Allah was protecting for you. How a closed door can lead to a better destiny. Many times in life, we stand in front of a closed door and think it is the end of our story. We knocked on it with hope. We made dua for it to open. We imagined our future behind it. We believed that if this door opened, our life would finally make sense. But then Allah kept it closed, and the heart became confused. You may have said, Ya Allah, why not this? Why not now? Why did you allow me to want it so much, if it was not meant for me? But the believer must understand that a closed door is not always rejection. Sometimes it is direction. Sometimes Allah closes a door not because He wants to deprive you, but because He is guiding you toward a path you would never have chosen on your own. If every door you wanted opened immediately, you might have entered places that were not safe for your faith, your peace, your future, or your heart. A closed door can feel painful because it forces you to stop moving in the direction you desired. It interrupts the plan you created. It breaks the picture you had in your mind. But sometimes that interruption is the mercy of Allah. Sometimes Allah stops you because the road ahead is not the road that leads to your true destiny. You may have thought the closed door was blocking your future, but in reality, it may have been blocking harm from reaching you. We often become attached to one door because we cannot see the other doors Allah has prepared. We think, if this does not happen, nothing good will happen. But this is not true. Allah is not limited to the door you are staring at. Allah is not limited to the person who left you. Allah is not limited to the job that rejected you. Allah is not limited to the opportunity that disappears. Allah owns every door. Allah owns every path. Allah owns every heart. Allah owns every future. When one door closes, it does not mean Allah has no plan for you. It means your plan was not the final plan. It means Allah is redirecting you toward what He knows is better. You may not recognize it immediately because your heart is still facing the closed door. But when Allah wants to guide you forward, He may first have to loosen your attachment to what is behind you. Sometimes a closed door teaches you patience. Sometimes it teaches you humility. Sometimes it teaches you that your worth is not decided by people's acceptance. Sometimes it teaches you that your rizq is not controlled by one company, one person, one opportunity, or one place. Sometimes it teaches you to rely on Allah in a way you would never have learned if everything had gone according to your plan. And this is very important. The closed door itself may become part of the journey that prepares you for your better destiny. The delay may strengthen you. The disappointment may purify you. The rejection may protect you from arrogance. The loss may make your dua sincere again. The silence may make you return to Allah with a heart that is softer, cleaner, and more awake. Think about how many times in life you wanted something badly, but after some time passed, you thanked Allah that it did not happen. At that moment you were hurt. At that moment you could not understand. At that moment you felt as though something precious had been taken from you. But later, Allah allowed you to see a little of the wisdom. You realized that the door was closed because behind it was not peace. Behind it was not a blessing. Behind it was not the future your heart needed. There are people who cried over a rejected proposal. Then Allah gave them a marriage filled with more peace. There are people who cried over a job they did not get. Then Allah opened a path that was more suitable for their life. There are people who cried over friends who left. Then Allah replaced them with people who reminded them of Him. There are people who cried over a plan that failed. Then Allah used that failure to guide them toward their real purpose. So do not underestimate what Allah can bring after a closed door. The door that did not open may be the reason you finally turned toward the door that was written for you. The rejection that hurt you may be the reason you avoided years of regret. The loss that confused you may be the reason your life took a direction filled with more barakah. Sometimes we keep asking Allah to open a door, but Allah is teaching us to walk away from it. Sometimes we keep knocking on something that has no khair for us, while Allah is opening another path behind us. But because our eyes are fixed on what we wanted, we do not see what Allah is arranging. This is why surrender is so powerful. Surrender does not mean you stop making an effort. It means you make an effort with trust. You try, you pray, you hope. But when Allah closes the door, you do not destroy yourself in front of it. You say, Ya Allah, I wanted this, but you know better. If there was good in it, you would have opened it for me in the best way. And if you closed it, then I trust that your wisdom is greater than my desire. This is the heart of a believer. A believer does not see every closed door as humiliation. A believer sees it as part of Allah's guidance. A believer knows that what is written will reach them even if the whole world tries to block it, and what is not written will never become theirs even if they exhaust themselves chasing it. Sometimes Allah closes a door because the timing is not right. Sometimes He closes it because the people behind it are not right. Sometimes He closes it because your heart is not ready. Sometimes He closes it because there is a better door, but you would never walk toward it until the first one shuts completely. And yes, it may hurt. Islam does not ask you to pretend that pain is not real. You may cry, you may feel disappointed, you may need time to heal, but do not allow the pain of one closed door to make you doubt the mercy of Allah. Do not allow one rejection to make you think your life has no direction. Do not allow one ending to make you believe your destiny has ended. The door closed, but Allah did not close His mercy. The person left, but Allah did not leave you. The opportunity ended, but Allah's provision did not end. The plan collapsed, but Allah's plan did not collapse. What Allah has written for you is still on its way, and sometimes the closed door is the very thing that clears the path for it to arrive. So when a door closes, do not stand there forever with a broken heart, asking why your life cannot move forward. Take the lesson, make dua, ask Allah for healing, ask Allah for guidance. Then walk with trust, because the same Allah who closed that door is able to open another door that brings peace to your heart, barakah to your life, and goodness to your dunya and akhirah. You may look back at that closed door and say, Alhamdulillah, Allah did not let me enter. You may realize that what looked like rejection was actually redirection. What looked like a delay was actually preparation. What looked like loss was actually the beginning of a better destiny. The thing you lost was not your destiny. The door that closed was not the end. It may have been Allah moving you away from what was not written for you, so He could lead you gently toward what was always meant to find you. The moment you stop chasing what was never written for you, there comes a moment in the life of a believer when the heart becomes tired of chasing what Allah has not written. At first, you may not recognize this moment as mercy. You may think you are giving up. You may think you are becoming weak. You may think you have lost hope. But sometimes, what you call giving up is actually surrendering to Allah. Sometimes, what you call losing interest is actually your heart finally realizing that peace will never come from running after something Allah has already moved away from you. There are people who spend years chasing someone who was never meant to stay. They keep trying to prove their worth. They keep trying to be chosen. They keep trying to repair a door that Allah has already closed. There are people who keep chasing an opportunity that keeps rejecting them, a dream that keeps draining them, a life that keeps pulling them away from Allah, and they do not realize that the exhaustion itself may be a sign. Not every difficult road is a test to continue. Sometimes difficulty is a sign that Allah is redirecting you. The believer is not asked to chase the dunya until the heart breaks. We are asked to make an effort, to trust Allah, to make dua, to take halal means, and then to accept what Allah decrees. There is a big difference between effort and obsession. Effort is when you try with faith. Obsession is when you cannot accept Allah's answer. Effort keeps Allah at the center. Obsession makes the thing you want the center of your life. Effort gives you dignity. Obsession makes you beg from creation what only Allah controls. When something is written for you, it will reach you by the permission of Allah. It may come after patience, after struggle, after delay, after lessons, but it will not miss you. And when something is not written for you, you can run after it, cry over it, plan for it, sacrifice for it, and still it will not become yours. This is not to make you hopeless. This is to free you. Because once you understand this truth, you stop humiliating your heart in front of doors Allah did not open for you. Sometimes we chase because we are afraid. We are afraid that if this person leaves, nobody else will care. We are afraid that if this opportunity is gone, no other door will open. We are afraid that if this plan fails, life will never become beautiful again. But fear makes the heart forget who Allah is. Allah is not limited to one person. Allah is not limited to one path. Allah is not limited to one season of your life. Allah can replace what you lost with something better, and He can bring peace from directions you never imagined. The moment you stop chasing what was never written for you, something begins to change inside you. Your heart stops living in panic. Your mind stops creating false stories. Your soul stops begging for what keeps hurting it. You begin to understand that your value is not decided by the one who left, the one who ignored you, the one who rejected you, or the door that remained closed. Your value is with Allah. Your rizq is with Allah. Your future is with Allah. Your honor is with Allah. Many people lose themselves while chasing what they want. They lose sleep. They lose peace. They lose self-respect. They lose their connection with Allah. They start compromising things they never thought they would compromise. They accept less than what is halal, less than what is dignified, less than what is peaceful, because they are afraid to let go. But whatever makes you lose yourself was never meant to complete you. Whatever takes you away from Allah was never meant to be your destination. And sometimes Allah lets you become tired of chasing, because tiredness is the doorway to surrender. You tried everything. You explained yourself. You waited. You hoped. You made plans. You held on. Then one day, the heart quietly says, Ya Allah, I cannot carry this anymore. That moment may feel like weakness, but it can be the beginning of your strongest faith, because now you are no longer holding the matter with trembling hands. You are placing it where it always belonged, in the hands of Allah. Do not misunderstand surrender. Surrender does not mean you become careless. It does not mean you stop working, stop praying, stop improving, or stop hoping. Surrender means you stop trying to force what Allah is not allowing. You still make dua, but you no longer demand that Allah must answer in the exact way you imagined. You still work hard, but you no longer destroy your peace over a result Allah has not written. You still love with sincerity, but you no longer worship attachment. You still hope for goodness, but you no longer tie your entire life to one outcome. Chasing what was never written can keep you trapped between two lives. You are not fully in the past, but you are not fully walking into the future. You are still checking the closed door. You are still waiting for the old message. You are still comparing every new possibility with what Allah removed. You are still asking why it did not happen, while Allah may be preparing something that requires your attention, your healing, and your trust. This is why letting go is not only about losing something, it is about becoming available for what Allah wants to give next. A heart that is full of old attachment has little space for new mercy. Hands that are gripping the past cannot fully receive what Allah is bringing. A soul that keeps chasing what is left may not recognize the blessing that is arriving. So sometimes Allah teaches you to release, not because your story is empty, but because the next chapter cannot begin while you keep living inside the previous one. There is a beautiful peace that enters the heart when you stop arguing with Qadr. You may still feel pain, but the pain is no longer controlling you. You may still remember, but the memory no longer owns you. You may still wonder, but you no longer accuse Allah's wisdom. You begin to say, Ya Allah, if it was written for me, it would have stayed. If it was good for me, you would have made a way. If you removed it, then you knew what I did not know. I will release it back to you. This is a powerful moment. The moment you stop chasing what was never written for you is the moment you begin returning to yourself and returning to Allah. You stop measuring your worth by who accepted you. You stop measuring your future by what failed. You stop measuring Allah's love by one unanswered desire. You begin to understand that Allah's plan is not destroyed because one thing did not happen. Allah's plan is still moving, still unfolding, still carrying you toward what He knows is better. Some people will only realize their strength after they stop chasing. They will realize they were not weak because they loved deeply. They were only tired because they were holding something Allah had not written. They will realize that peace did not come when the person returned, when the opportunity opened, or when the old dream came back. Peace came when they placed their trust in Allah and stopped making one created thing the condition for their happiness. And my dear brothers and sisters, when you stop chasing what was never written, Allah may show you doors you were too distracted to notice. He may bring people into your life who honor you properly. He may open paths that are calmer, cleaner, and more blessed. He may rebuild your heart in silence before giving you what is better. He may not replace it immediately, but He will never leave a heart empty when that heart lets go for His sake. So ask yourself honestly, what are you still chasing that keeps breaking your peace? What are you still begging for that keeps taking you away from Allah? What are you still holding that Allah has already shown you is not meant for you? These questions are not meant to hurt you. They are meant to wake you up gently. Because the thing you are chasing may not be your destiny. It may be the test that teaches you surrender. It may be the attachment Allah wants to remove so your heart can breathe again. It may be the door that stays closed, because behind it is not the future Allah wrote for you. Stop chasing what costs you your dignity, your faith, and your peace. Make dua, make effort, and then leave the outcome to Allah. What is yours will come with Allah's permission. What is not yours cannot be forced into your life, no matter how badly you want it. And when you finally stop running after what was never written, you will not lose your destiny. You will begin walking toward it with a heart that is lighter, wiser, and closer to Allah. What Allah begins giving after you, accept what He took. Acceptance is not an easy station for the heart to reach. When Allah takes something away, the first response of the heart is often pain. You may feel confused, disappointed, empty, or even afraid of what life will look like without the thing you lost. You may keep asking why it happened, why it ended, why the door closed, why the person left, why the plan collapsed, and why Allah did not allow it to remain. But after the tears, after the questions, after the struggle inside the heart, there comes a moment when the believer says, Ya Allah, I do not understand everything, but I trust you. This moment is very powerful. It is the moment the heart stops fighting the decree and begins resting in the wisdom of the one who wrote it. It is the moment your soul stops asking life to return to the old chapter and begins opening itself to what Allah is preparing next. When you accept what Allah took, Allah begins giving you things that the old attachment may have been blocking. The first thing Allah gives is peace. Not the kind of peace that comes because everything makes sense, but the kind of peace that comes because you finally stop arguing with what Allah has written. You may still remember what happened. You may still feel the scar, but the wound no longer controls your entire life. You are no longer waking up every day asking the past to change. You are no longer begging a closed door to become your future. You begin to breathe again. And this peace is a great gift. Many people have food, money, people around them, and opportunities in front of them, but they do not have peace. Their hearts are always restless because they are still holding on to what Allah removed. So when Allah grants you acceptance, He is not giving you something small. He is giving you freedom from the prison of what if. What if it had stayed? What if they came back? What if I had done this differently? What if life had gone another way? Acceptance removes the chains of these questions and teaches the heart to say, what Allah wrote has happened, and what Allah has written next is still in His hands. After acceptance, Allah also begins giving clarity. When the pain is fresh, everything looks confusing. You cannot see the lesson. You cannot see the wisdom. You cannot see why the loss may have been a protection. But when the heart calms down, Allah may begin showing you things you could not see before. You may start remembering signs you ignored. You may start understanding why that path was not safe. You may start seeing how much anxiety, compromise, or distance from Allah was connected to what you lost. Slowly, the picture becomes clearer. You begin to realize that Allah was not destroying your life. He was saving it from a direction that was not meant for you. Allah may also give you strength after acceptance. Before acceptance, you may feel weak because your heart is still attached to something outside your control. But when you hand the matter back to Allah, you begin to stand again. You realize you survived what you thought would end you. You realize your life did not finish when that person left. You realize your future did not disappear when that door closed. You realize your worth was never in the hands of what Allah removed. This strength is different from arrogance. It is not the strength of someone who says, I do not need anyone. It is the strength of someone who says, I need Allah, and if Allah is with me, then I can continue. It is the strength that comes after sujood, after dua, after patience, after a heart has been broken and then rebuilt by its Lord. After acceptance, Allah may give you a cleaner heart. Sometimes loss exposes unhealthy attachment. It shows you where your heart was depending too much on people, plans, approval, or worldly dreams. It shows you where you had placed your peace in something that was never guaranteed. And when you accept Allah's decree, your heart begins to return to the right place. You start depending less on creation and more on the Creator. You start realizing that people are means, opportunities are means, and plans are means, but Allah is the source of every good thing. This is a great mercy because a heart that returns to Allah becomes lighter. It no longer worships outcomes. It no longer collapses every time life changes. It learns to love people without making them its Lord. It learns to pursue goals without making them its identity. It learns to receive blessings without becoming arrogant, and it learns to lose things without losing faith. After acceptance, Allah may also give you better judgment. The version of you that was attached may not have been seen clearly. Attachment can make a person ignore red flags. Attachment can make a person excuse what should not be excused. Attachment can make a person chase what is harming them because the heart is afraid of being empty. But when Allah heals you through acceptance, you begin to see with more wisdom. You begin to recognize what is good for your deen, your peace, your dignity, and your future. You become less desperate. You become more careful. You stop accepting everything just because it looks good in the beginning. There is also a beautiful gift Allah gives after acceptance: space for new blessings. As long as your heart is fully occupied with what is left, it may not recognize what Allah is sending. As long as your hands are holding the past, they cannot fully receive what is coming. As long as your eyes are fixed on one closed door, you may miss the doors Allah is opening around you. Acceptance creates space. It clears the heart. It makes room for new mercy, new guidance, new people, new opportunities, and new beginnings. And remember, new blessings do not always arrive loudly. Sometimes Allah first gives you quiet. He gives you rest. He gives you time to heal. He gives you the ability to sleep without crying. He gives you the strength to pray without begging for the old thing to return. He gives you the courage to move through a day without being controlled by memories. These may seem small to others, but to the one who was broken, these are huge gifts. Then, when Allah knows your heart is ready, He may give you replacement in ways you did not expect. He may replace a painful attachment with a stronger connection to Him. He may replace anxiety with calmness. He may replace confusion with direction. He may replace people who drained you with people who remind you of goodness. He may replace a door that closed with a path that is more blessed, more peaceful, and more suitable for the person you are becoming. But my dear brothers and sisters, do not only look for replacement in worldly form. Sometimes we think if Allah took a person, He must send another person immediately. If Allah closed one job, He must open another job immediately. If Allah ended one plan, He must give another plan immediately. Allah can do that. But sometimes the first replacement is not outside you. Sometimes the first replacement is inside you. Allah gives you patience. Allah gives you maturity. Allah gives you wisdom. Allah gives you a stronger heart. Allah gives you a deeper relationship with Him. And these gifts may be far more valuable than the thing you lost. Acceptance also teaches you gratitude. Before the loss, you may have been focused only on what was missing. But after acceptance, you begin seeing what remained. You still have Allah. You still have the door of dua. You still have your salah. You still have another morning. You still have chances to do good. You still have a future that Allah can fill with khair. The thing you lost did not take every blessing with it. It only felt that way because your heart was deeply attached. When you accept what Allah took, you begin to understand that the loss was not the end of Allah's mercy. It may have been the beginning of a different mercy. A mercy that teaches you to trust Him more. A mercy that saves your heart from depending on unstable things. A mercy that guides you toward what is better for your dunya and your akhirah. So do not think acceptance means you are pretending the pain was easy. No, acceptance means you are choosing faith over resistance. It means you are saying, Ya Allah, my heart hurt, but I know you did not wrong me. Ya Allah, I cried, but I know you saw every tear. Ya Allah, I lost something I wanted, but I believe you are still writing goodness for me. And when a believer reaches that point, Allah opens doors inside the heart before He opens doors outside in the world. He gives calm before clarity. He gives patience before replacement. He gives strength before the next chapter. He gives trust before the full wisdom is revealed. The thing you lost was not your destiny. And when you finally accept that Allah took it for a reason, you will begin to receive what the loss was preparing you for. Peace, clarity, strength, wisdom, healing, and a heart that no longer depends on anything more than it depends on Allah. The day you thank Allah for the thing you once cried over, there will come a day when you may look back at something that once broke your heart, and instead of crying you will say, Alhamdulillah, not because the pain was small, not because the tears were fake, not because the loss did not matter, but because Allah will allow you to see what you could not see when your heart was wounded. You thought you had lost something precious. You thought your future had collapsed. You thought life would never feel the same again. You kept asking Allah why it happened, why it ended, why the person left, why the door closed, why the plan failed, and why the thing you wanted so badly was not allowed to remain. But when Allah opens your understanding, you begin to realize that what you called a loss was actually protection, redirection, and mercy. Many people only understand Allah's wisdom after time has passed. In the beginning, pain speaks loudly. It makes you believe that nothing good can come from what happened. It makes you focus only on what is left, not on what Allah saved. It makes you see only the broken plan, not the hidden mercy. But slowly, as the heart heals, as life moves forward, as Allah shows you new doors, new strength, and new peace, you begin to understand that Allah was not taking your destiny away. He was removing what was never written for you. Think about it. How many things did you once want with your whole heart, but today you are grateful Allah did not give them to you? How many people did you once cry over, but now you understand that if they had stayed, your life may have become heavier, your heart may have become weaker, and your connection with Allah may have suffered? How many doors did you once beg Allah to open, but now you realize they were leading to a future that was not safe for your soul? This is one of the signs of Allah's mercy. He may protect you before you understand the need for protection. He may remove something before you recognize its danger. He may close a door before you see what is behind it. And because we are human, we cry when it happens, we feel the pain, we feel the emptiness, we feel the shock of losing what we thought we needed. But Allah is Al-Latif, the most subtle. His kindness sometimes works quietly beneath the surface of events, in ways we only understand later. The day you thank Allah for what you once cried over is a day of maturity. It is the day your heart realizes that Allah's plan was better than your plan. It is the day you stop blaming the decree and start seeing the mercy inside it. It is the day you understand that not every unanswered dua was rejected. Some unanswered duas were protection. Some delays were preparation. Some losses were rescued. Some endings were the beginning of a better path. When you reach that day, you no longer say, "Why did Allah take it away from me?" You begin to say, "Ya Allah, thank you for not giving me what I was too emotional to see clearly. Thank you for closing the door I kept knocking on. Thank you for removing what I thought I needed, because you knew it would not be good for my dunya or my akhirah." This is why patience is so powerful. Patience is not only waiting for pain to disappear. Patience is trusting Allah until the wisdom becomes clear, or trusting Him even if the wisdom is never fully shown in this life. Some answers come after weeks. Some answers come after years. Some answers may only be fully understood on the day of judgment. But the believer knows that Allah never wrongs His servants. Every decree of Allah carries knowledge, justice, and wisdom. Sometimes the thing you cried over becomes the reason you return to Allah. Before the loss, your heart may have been distracted. Your dua may have become weak. Your salah may have become rushed. Your dependence may have been placed too heavily on people or plans. Then Allah removed something, and suddenly your heart came back to Him. You cried in sujood. You spoke to Allah with honesty. You realized how fragile life is, how limited people are, and how deeply you need your Lord. And when that happens, was it truly a loss? If losing something brought you closer to Allah, then that loss carried a gift inside it. If losing a person saved your iman, then that goodbye was mercy. If losing a plan purified your heart, then that disappointment was not empty. If losing a dream taught you tawakkul, then Allah gave you something greater than the dream itself. One day you may thank Allah because the thing that left made space for something better. Not always something bigger in the eyes of people, but something better for your heart. More peace, more dignity, more barakah, more sincerity, more closeness to Allah. Sometimes the replacement is not immediate, and sometimes it does not look the way you expected, but Allah knows exactly what your soul needs. You may thank Allah for the person who walked away because their absence taught you your worth. You may thank Allah for the rejection because it pushed you toward a better door. You may thank Allah for the delay because it prepared you for something you were not ready to receive. You may thank Allah for the heartbreak because it broke an attachment that was slowly taking over your heart. You may thank Allah for the closed door because it protected you from a path that would have taken years to escape. But my dear brothers and sisters, do not rush yourself. If you are still crying, it does not mean your faith is weak. If your heart still hurts, it does not mean you do not trust Allah. Healing takes time. Acceptance takes time. Understanding takes time. Islam does not ask you to be emotionless. Even the strongest believers feel pain. What Islam teaches is that pain should not make you accuse Allah. Pain should not make you lose hope. Pain should not make you believe that your Lord has abandoned you. So cry to Allah, not away from Allah. Take your sadness to Him. Say, Ya Allah, I do not understand yet, but help me trust you. Ya Allah, my heart is hurting, but do not let my pain make me forget your mercy. Ya Allah, if this was not written for me, remove its attachment from my heart and replace it with peace. This is how the believer heals, not by pretending nothing happened, but by placing the wound in front of Allah. Not by denying the pain, but by refusing to let the pain become stronger than faith. Not by forcing the past to return, but by trusting that Allah is still writing goodness ahead. The day you thank Allah for what you once cried over may come quietly. It may happen when you see the true nature of what you lost. It may happen when Allah gives you something more peaceful. It may happen when your heart finally feels free from the attachment. It may happen when you realize that you are calmer now, wiser now, closer to Allah now, and stronger than you were before. That day, the tears of sadness may become tears of gratitude. You may say, Ya Allah, I did not understand your plan, but your plan was better. I wanted what was in front of me, but you were protecting what was ahead of me. I cried when you removed it, but now I know you were saving me. And this is the beauty of faith. The believer does not always understand the story while it is unfolding, but the believer trusts the author. The believer does not always see the destination, but the believer trusts the guide. The believer does not always know why a chapter ended, but the believer knows that Allah ends nothing without wisdom and begins nothing without mercy. So if you are still in the part of the story where it hurts, be patient. The same Allah who allowed the loss can bring healing. The same Allah who closed the door can open another. The same Allah who saw your tears can replace them with peace. The same Allah who removed what was not written for you can guide you toward what was always meant for you. By the permission of Allah, you may thank Him for the very thing you once begged Him to change. You may thank Him for the loss, for the delay, for the closed door, for the goodbye, and for the answer that hurt you at first. Because on that day, you will understand that Allah was never against you. He was protecting you, preparing you, purifying you, and leading you toward the destiny that truly belonged to you. The thing you lost was not your destiny. It was part of the lesson, part of the redirection, part of the mercy, and part of the journey that brought you closer to Allah. And what Allah has written for you will never miss you, even if the road toward it begins with tears. My brothers and sisters, if there is one lesson to take from all of this, it is that Allah never takes away your destiny. People may leave, opportunities may disappear, plans may collapse, and doors may close, but what Allah has written for you will never miss you. The pain comes when we confuse our desires with our destiny. We hold on to things that Allah, in His perfect wisdom, knows cannot remain in our lives. One day, many of us will look back at a loss that once broke our hearts and thank Allah for removing it. Not because the pain was easy, but because we finally understood what Allah was protecting us from and what He was preparing us for. Trust Allah's decree, trust His timing, and trust His wisdom. The thing you lost was not your destiny, but what Allah has written for you is still making its way toward you, and it will arrive at the perfect time.